On this episode, we talk about Mark 7 lighting package swaps, Tiguans with carbon buildup, Mark 6s with a boost leak, and the Mark 7 differential swap. This is episode
25.
The AskDAP show. Let's get into the show.
Matthew via Reddit says, I saw this related question and your link, but could not find the specific video. Can you tell me if it's possible to DIY install the factory lighting package on a 2015 Golf TDI?
Matthew, so swapping to a lighting package OEM parts on a Mark 7 model. Originally, when we bought our car, we bought a halogen car intending to do a lighting package swap. But as we started to kind of dig into it and really look at what it, overall cost was going to be, we actually decided to scrap that idea and went for the Helix lights. Here's why. So the OEM lights are fairly expensive by themselves just to replace them with Xenon lights, which you're probably looking at around $500 per light. Now that does not include bulbs, modules, or anything else you need to retrofit it. With the other parts you would need to retrofit would be an adapter harness, as well as if you want auto leveling to work, you need to actually add auto level sensors and then run wiring to the suspension parts that the auto leveling sensors mount to. Obviously, all of that stuff, when you add it up, you're talking about many thousands of dollars. If you're doing it yourself, you might be able to get it done for like $2,500 to $3,000. Most likely, you'd be looking in the $4,000 range if you're paying somebody to do it. So it's just not practical. If you wanted OEM parts, you almost might be better off just buying a car that has a lighting package.
Josh W. via email says, great show. Wish I was closer so I could have you guys work on my rig. I have a Mark 6 GTI APR Stage 2 with the Mark 6 Unitronic intercooler. I've been battling these codes for a while now and I might have found the culprit maybe. Please look at the attached pictures of the intercooler hose. It looks like where the pancake pipe is connected to the adapter is loose or not all the way down. You can actually see the green O-ring gasket sticking out. What would that cause the codes? I just replaced the MAF sensor too, but the same codes came back. I hear a lot of people complain about various intercooler hoses and fitment. What's your take?
Josh, so first of all, thank you for reaching out to us. Appreciate it. We actually don't do repair work here. We actually just sell parts. We do some minor performance installs as well as performance software, but we actually don't repair vehicles here. In regards to your issues, I would say most likely the issue you have is related to that. I tried to look to see which mass airflow sensor you replaced, but it looks like you didn't purchase it from us, so I wasn't sure. I just wanted to follow up to make sure that you got the correct one. If you did order it from us, it looks like that wasn't the case. So, sounds to me like if you replaced that part and it didn't do anything as far as change the fault codes any way whatsoever, it's related to something else. Anytime you get a fault right after doing an install of some kind, you can pretty much make the assumption that it's related to the install. Now, the pictures attached obviously show on the passenger side of the engine where the boost pipes run. You have the two where they couple. They use like a quick connect setup, and the green seal that holds it in place seems to be partially out of the tube. I would say that is very likely to be your cause. And here's the important thing that I think to note is, even if it isn't the cause or you think it might not be the cause, fixing something you know is a problem should be your first job, because anytime you're trying to diagnose something else, if you think it's not your problem, you have to fix a known problem first. So start there. That should fix your problem because you have a vacuum/boost leak and unmetered air coming into the engine, which is why you're getting fault codes. Could be related, could not, but always definitely start with something you know to be a problem.
Squad 1993 via YouTube says, you might have been asked this question before, but is it possible to install the performance package on a non-performance pack Mark 7 GTI? I'm mostly interested in a limited slip differential.
Okay, so swapping performance pack differential into a non-performance pack car. It's probably possible. Most likely, based on the cost to do that, is not going to make sense, because the differential that comes in the performance pack is not just a standard limited slip differential, so it wouldn't be a swap in, swap out. There'd be a lot of electronics you'd have to purchase with it, and retrofitting it would be pretty complicated, especially getting it to work properly. There may be new modules required because they actually, the ESP modules and anything basically ABS module that controls traction control might actually control the differential, in which case maybe you need an ABS module to make that performance pack diff work properly. Now, my suggestion would be aftermarket differentials. A true limited slip, there's a couple companies like Pelican or Wave Track also is another one. I looked, there are DSG LSDs for Mark 7s. There are no manual ones that I saw for manual transmissions yet, as far as we know. So, but that would be the way to go if you want a limited slip, is to swap in an aftermarket one into your transmission.
Kevin S. has some questions about carbon buildup on his Tiguan and is curious as to any other potential TSI issues that could present itself if he were to buy the vehicle.
Okay, so Kevin, the issues around the Tiguan, obviously, glad our article helped explain the carbon buildup issue around direct injection. Just anybody who's curious about what that is, we actually have a video talking about carbon buildup on direct injection engines. We'll put a link to that, as well as our article talking about that specifically on TSI engines. Aside from that, the issue that you're referring to, or potential future issues you're referring to, here's my perspective on if you should keep the Tiguan. First of all, talking about it in regards to carbon buildup. Carbon buildup is not going to be something that happens really fast, so you're not going to need to do it regularly. It is obviously something you should be aware of, and the fact that you obviously already know when you've gotten yourself into it, you're aware of what the repair cost is. So obviously be prepared for maybe every 3 to 4 years that you're going to have to do that. It is kind of the cost of ownership of a lot of directed injection engines. Aside from that, the 2-liter turbo is actually a decent engine, and it has a few little caveats to that. We have an article that I wrote talking about common issues on 2-liter TSI engines, which we'll put a link to here, as well as that actually has exploded articles going more in depth on each individual topic. The most important one you're going to want to look at is going to be the TSI Timing Chain Tensioner, which we actually made these t-shirts recently to kind of bring a little more awareness to this issue. For anybody who's not familiar, TSI Timing Chain Tensioners actually have an issue where they'll let loose and allow the timing chain to jump, causing it to bend valves and obviously do extreme damage to your engine. This is obviously an extremely costly repair if it does happen to you. So we generally advise people to update them with the most updated version to try to ensure that you're not going to have this issue, because obviously the cost associated with it, you're talking about many thousands of dollars for that repair if it does actually jump time, as opposed to, the tensioner update isn't cheap, but relative to the cost of it jumping is significantly less. So that would be one thing you want to really be aware of. There are a couple other things like water pump issues, and the high pressure fuel pumps have potential for some problems, but the only really scary one would be the timing chain tensioner. The other ones, you can kind of take them as they go, and if they happen, then you can replace them and worry about them at that time. The timing chain tensioner is going to be the one to worry about. Thank you for watching episode 25 of the AskDAP show, where we answer your Volkswagen Audi questions. If you think we missed any answers to these questions or have any other feedback on the questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. If you want your question answered on a show just like this one, be sure to shoot us an email, info@shopdap.com. Put AskDAP in the subject line, and we'll be sure to try to get you on our next episode.